Chapter 5151 The Main Hall Meeting of the Yen Clan. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 5151. The Main Hall Meeting of the Yen Clan. No, Supreme Elder. With Huo Yue's talent, she will definitely become a fighting saint in the future. How can we allow her to get married? Immediately, an elder from the Yen tribe stood up and objected. Yes, how could I, the genius of the Yen clan, be sent to the Thunder clan? Another elder said. My Yen clan's heritage is equal to that of the Thunder clan, so why would I give it to a Tianjiao for no reason? Yen Su did not respond or refute what many elders said. At this time, Yan Jin stretched out his hand to signal everyone to be quiet, especially the emotional Huo Xing. After all, Huo Yue is his daughter. In the main hall, after it became quiet again, Yan Jin looked at Yan Su and said, Great Elder, what is the meaning of your request for a marriage between the geniuses of the Yen clan? That he didn't think that Yan Su was using his family's genius to give away to others. Clan Chief, although our Yen clan has not dried up the Dou Emperor bloodline like the Stone and Ling clan, we are still far from being able to compare with the Ancient clan and the Soul clan. Since the destruction of the Shao clan, although the several clans have been stable for thousands of years, but that was just the trauma the Soul Emperor suffered when he destroyed the Shao clan. Now that thousands of years have passed by, I'm afraid he has recovered now. Emperor Hun Tian is ambitious, and Gu Yuan has already reached the peak of Douzong. Neither of these two people want to take a step forward. But now there is no Dou Emperor on the mainland. If there is anyone who can help them, it is undoubtedly Tuoshi. With the inheritance left by the ancient emperor and the ancient jade in hand, I am afraid that they will take action sooner or later. Although the Thunder clan has always had a good relationship with our clan, this is just that the Lei clan is in the same situation as our clan. But now the Thunder clan wants the younger generation has such a talented person. Once they grow up, new changes will definitely occur in several tribes. Yan Jin frowned, and many elders in the hall fell into silence. At this moment, even Huo Xing fell silent, because the ethnic group is greater than anything else. Huo Xing could sacrifice his life for the sake of the clan. The fact that he was not given the surname Yen does not mean that he is not willing to pay anything for the Yen clan, but he just did not meet the opportunity. After a long time, Yan Jin said, although this Lei Qi is performing amazingly now, no one knows what will happen in the future. This is also what I mean by suggesting Huo Yue's marriage. Yan Su said. Hearing this, everyone suddenly understood what Yan Su meant. Huo Yue is extremely talented. Although he is said to be sending a fighting saint in the Thunder clan, you have to know, women from the Dou Emperor family were not allowed before Douzong, otherwise it would most likely affect their bloodline. It must be an extremely long road for Huo Yue to reach Douzong. During this period, they could also see what level Lei Qi could reach. Absolutely. Elder Yan Su's proposal, the elders may have doubts. Yan Jin thinks this proposal is very good. In this way, it is equivalent to having the name of marriage. Huo Xing didn't say anything, and the others were even less likely to object that in the future, if Lei Qi can meet expectations, then it is not impossible for the Yen clan to send a fighting saint lady as a gift. If it cannot be achieved, then you can definitely negotiate to terminate the engagement. I believe that by that time, Lei Qi will not have any outstanding performance, and the Lei clan will not have any objections. Any friendship between the Didi family can never be compared to the primacy of interests. If Gu Yuan was talking about loyalty, how could the descendants of Shao Xian, that is, the Shao clan, end up in such a situation? I have no doubt. Everyone said in unison. Clan leader, I once went to the Yao clan to participate in a grand ceremony. The Yao clan also had this idea about marriage. Elder Huo Fan said at this time, the flames froze. If this happens, I'm afraid if they use Huo Yue to marry, other clan members will have some ideas, right? After all, if that junior performs well, he cannot hide it. It's better to choose a young girl with low talent from our Yen clan to be the one-in-law. Yan Su said again. What? As soon as Yan Su said these words, many Yen clan elders became uneasy again. A woman from their Yen clan, who is still a direct subordinate with some Dou Emperor blood, wants to send the other party to be his mistress. Although it's better than concubine, it's a bit of a slap in the face, right? Even Yan Jin was a little unhappy. Which is more important, face or the survival of the ethnic group? Yan Su asked again, although what he said was a bit exaggerated, it did not mean that it was impossible. There was silence again. In the center of the hall, Yan Ting also spoke at this time. Clan chief, all the supreme elders, all the elders, I also think that the great elders method is feasible. I think that Lei Qi will definitely be extraordinary in the future. And if it is good, I'm afraid he should have divine blood. Hiss. The Doupo family itself is a place that values bloodlines. The higher the bloodline, the higher the achievements, especially the first-generation descendants of Dou Emperor, who benefit the most, and these people are born with high-grade blood, and they can be said to be dragons and phoenixes among people. As it is passed down from generation to generation, the power of bloodline will decrease. At this time, if a divine bloodline appears, it will undoubtedly be the fighting emperor. It has been nearly 1,000 years since a character with divine bloodline appeared. However, Yan Ting actually said that Lei Qi would have the bloodline of Dou Emperor. But if you think about it carefully, at such a young age, you are already in such a state, and you have not even relied on the help of the emperor. It seems that no one can achieve such a speed of cultivation except for those with divine bloodline, right? Okay, I will leave this matter entirely to you, Yan Ting. Yan Jin made the decision directly. Yes, clan leader. After Yan Ting agreed, he left here. As Yan Ting left, the elders in the Yan clan also left one after another. In the end, only Yan Jin and Yan Su were left. Clan leader, do you feel aggrieved? Yan Su asked, looking at the silent Yan Jin. It's my incompetence. I can't break through the 9-star fighting saint, and it's even more hopeless to fight the emperor. Yan Jin said with some self-blame. Every patriarch of the Doupo family is actually under a lot of pressure, especially from the Dou Emperor era to now, when there are only 7 clans left, without the 5 clan leaders of the 9-star Dou Sheng. Each of them is under great pressure, and when they think about death, they may not be able to face their ancestors. Alas, Yan Su also sighed. In fact, he is much older than Yan Su, but it is precisely because he has lived long enough that he is more open-minded. Our clan is still able to pass on the inheritance, and this is the credit of the clan leader. Since the ancient Emperor Tuasha, there has been no strong Dou Emperor in Doupo continent for an unknown period of time. The clan leader does not need to worry about it. Yan Su said with relief. Elder Yan Su, do you think the Soul clan will really take action against our Yan clan? Yan Jin asked. If the Soul clan has a chance, they will definitely take action against our Yan clan. However, don't just focus on the Soul clan. That Gu Yuan may not be a kind person. Yan Su said. Yeah. Yan Jin nodded. He has always seen clearly that Gu Yuan is also a hypocrite. Chapter 52-52. Discussing marriage, the 2 concubines of the Yan tribe. You are listening at novelfull.audio. That night, in an elder's hall in the outside world, Yan Ting sent the Yan clan guards to summon a girl from the clan. The woman must be about 17 or 18 years old, but she has a perfect figure and a charming face that is alluring, wearing a fiery red dress. The fair skin looming between the skirt brings a strong visual impact. On the extremely delicate face, there are some sexy eyes. In the outside world of the Yan clan, Huo Yue was ranked first in appearance alongside Huo Ji. Moreover, compared to Huo Ji, Huo Yue is gentler to others. The main reason is that her talent and background are not as good as Huo Ji, otherwise, she would be a cold beauty. The girl came over, looked at Yan Ting and saluted, Elder Yan Ting. The voice is very charming, like a seductive fox. Huo Yue, after discussion between the clan leader and the elders, you will be married to Lei Qi of the Lei clan as an equal wife. Do you have any doubts? Yan Ting asked simply and straightforwardly. A junior with mediocre talent naturally does not deserve any scruples from an elder of his clan. Moreover, to put it bluntly, she just sacrificed something. As for asking her if she had any doubts, that's just a casual comment. Lei clan. Fair wife. Huo Yue looked very surprised and confused after hearing what Elder Yan Ting said. If you want to marry yourself, forget it, but why is she not the legal wife? When did the Yan clan ever have such rules? After all, she also has the blood of Dou Emperor. You are not the only one who is getting married this time. Huo Yue is the official wife. However, you also know Huo Yue's situation. Yan Ting didn't want to say more at first, but after thinking about it, he still kept the reason without reservation. He told Huo Yue. At the same time, he also told Huo Yue that this decision was made by the clan leader and all the elders in the clan. Hearing this, Huo Yue's face turned gloomy, her beautiful eyes even lost their sparkle for a moment, and her dark eyebrows frowned slightly. Her talent is not very bad, not the top but still mid-level, but unexpectedly, she has now become a marriage tool, and, keep it small, Huo Yue, the head wife, stayed in the clan to train her. After all, how could the genius in her own clan be given away to others so easily? Huo Yue is also a smart girl, but unfortunately her talent is not as good as her brain. Considering the clan, this makes sense, but, just because of this, she has to be a victim. Huo Yue naturally didn't want to agree, but she knew very well, where did she have the right to refuse? Being born beautiful but not yet powerful can indeed be a sad thing sometimes. Huo Yue left the hall heartbroken. When she went back, she also wanted to commit suicide. Because this is undoubtedly a humiliation for her, but Huo Yue doesn't have the courage, and the top leaders of the Yan clan are shameless, so why should she care about this? It's just that Huo Yue is a little worried. She doesn't know what kind of person Lei Qi is. Had she ever heard that the Thunder clan were a group of rough guys, and even the women of the Thunder clan would get into fights over disagreements? Huo Yue looked at her small body. The more she thought about it, the more uncomfortable she became. In short, when Huo Yue thought about being a sidekick, she completely imagined Lei Qi as a person who didn't understand love the fragrance and cherish the jade. The next day, the sky turned pale. Lei Qi and his party arrived at the meeting hall outside. Today, there are many people in the seats on the right side of the hall. Judging from the age and aura of these people, it is obvious that they are all extraordinary. Of course, among these people, there are also many younger generations. However, few of these people can catch Lei Qi's eyes. On the other hand, those sitting there must be 8 or 9-star Douzong warriors, even if they are weaker. Lei Wuxia was a little confused looking at such a lineup, but he took Lei Qi to the guest seat and sat down as he pleased. After Yan Ting saw Lei Wuxia's arrival, he stood up and said, "Brother Wuxia, I won't take you around today, but I have something I want to discuss with you." "What's the matter?" Lei Wuxia asked. "Marriage." Yan Ting said directly. Lei Wuxia paused. He had thought about this. After all, in the past 100 years, the number of marriages between the Thunder clan and the Yan clan has been increasing. Without him, the Ancient clan and the Soul clan are all talented people. On the other hand, the Lei and Yan clan, although they have some background, the gap is getting wider and wider. In this case, the patriarchs of the two clans had no choice but to choose to make friends, because the Yan clan or the Thunder clan alone cannot resist the Ancient clan and the Soul clan. Only when the two tribes join forces can it be possible to compete with either of the two tribes. This matter is naturally not a problem. Next time, Brother Yan Ting can take the younger generation of the Yan clan to the Thunder clan to choose a good match. Lei Wuxia responded. Yan Ting paused and then said, "Brother Wuxia, why wait until next time? I just want to marry your clan Lei Qi. This is it." Lei Wuxia heard this, so it was difficult for him to act. "Brother Wuxia, what's the trouble?" Yan Ting was slightly dissatisfied. "That's right, last time, the Yao clan intended to marry the Yao clan Yao spirit to Lei Qi. Lei Wuxia said about the Yao clan's affairs, medicine. Everyone in the Yan clan is no stranger to this name. It is said that this girl's natural soul power is different from ordinary people. In the future, it is even possible to enter the soul of the Emperor realm." Yan Ting frowned, and then said, "Then, has this matter been settled?" "No." Lei Wuxia shook his head. "Then it's over. Moreover, this time, the person our clan is marrying is Huo Yue, the genius of the Yan clan." Yan Ting spoke again. Among the young girls and boys in the crowd, a girl wearing a veil trembled slightly. "Yan Ting, are you kidding me? The Thunder clan knows all about the geniuses born in other families. What's more, it's a group that the Yan clan often interacts with. Huo Yue and Huo Xian are the undoubted geniuses of the Yan clan today. Now that Yan Ting wants to marry Huo Yue, This really surprises Lei Wuxia. How can you joke about this kind of thing? However, you also know that the women of our Doupo family have no choice before reaching a certain level. So, we, the Yan clan, have decided to let Huo Yue marry Lei Qi as an equal wife. Yan Ting continued, Lei Wuxia said heartily, this old fox, although the people of the Thunder tribe like to be able to use their hands without beeping, it does not mean that they have no brains, that he doesn't understand what the other party means. However, he didn't think there was anything wrong with it, because this saves a lot of resources. The Thunder clan will still be able to get a fighting saint for nothing in the future. With Huo Yue's bloodline level and talent, there will definitely be no surprises. However, this time, before Lei Wuxia said anything, the younger generation of the Yan tribe were not happy. Elder Yan Ting, how can we, the Yan clan, have two women serving one husband? Yes, he is so virtuous and capable. Why should the goddess of the younger generation of the Yan tribe be given to Lei Qi himself? When Yan Ting heard the shouting of a group of young disciples, he immediately slapped the table and shouted angrily, how presumptuous. In an instant, the younger generation of teenagers from the Yan tribe all shut their mouths. The elders are majestic and cannot be provoked, however, they are not convinced. Why does Lei Qi enjoy such treatment and marry two beauties all at once? Chapter 53-53. True and Sincere, Huo Yue. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 53-53. True and Sincere, Huo Yue. It's a joke, it's a joke. Yan Ting ignored the anger of the teenagers and instead looked at the people of the Thunder clan to apologize. This is something that the clan leader and many elders in the inner circle agreed to. They never had the right to say no. Well. Lei Wuxia was a little confused for a while. He didn't expect that the Yan clan would be so big. Huo Yue. Yan Ting shouted again. Behind them, two girls in red dresses walked out. I saw the woman in front of me with picturesque black eyebrows, a pretty nose, and enchanting eyes that seemed to be electric. Her lips are plump and bright red, with graceful curvature, and the corners of her mouth are delicate and carved. The fiery red skirt outlines her exquisite figure. The curvatures of her slender waist, front and back, are extremely luxurious. No wonder, the Yan tribe boy was unhappy. Who wouldn't be confused looking at such a charming woman? Lei Qi looked at the veiled girl behind her again. After standing up, the veil had been taken off. She has curvy eyebrows, a tender little face, fair and soft skin, a high straight bridge of nose, a fairy-like face, and a tender and fiery temperament that is most vividly reflected in her body. Isn't she the perfect bile? The Yan tribe's twin sisters are indeed worthy of making the Yan tribe's sons and daughters have strong hostility towards Lei Qi. After Huo Yue came out, he put on the veil again. However, this veil area is even more charming. Yan Ting ignored Lei Wuxia, but looked at Lei Wuxia. The marriage is settled here. Lei Wuxia decided, although he had many things that needed to be approved by the clan council, he had already talked about his marriage with the Yan clan when he came here. Of course he can make the decision. However, Lei Wuxia did not expect that the Yan clan would send two women. Then when we go back this time, Huo Yue will be left to you. Yan Ting looked at Lei Qi and said. Lei Qi responded, he didn't show too many mood swings. Even when he was just admiring the girl's charm, he maintained a serious attitude. After all, he is a person of status, so of course he cannot act too ugly. In the next 2 lives, he can be regarded as living for 40 or 50 years, and he still has this hidden power. Huo Yue glanced at Huo Yue, her heart full of sorrow, but although she was worried, her beautiful eyes would stay on Lei Qi from time to time, because unlike other lay people, he fit Huo Yue's aesthetics. However, she didn't know what kind of man Lei Qi was. Lei Qi naturally noticed Huo Yue looking at him from time to time, but he also noticed the confusion about the future in the girl's eyes. You too, take Lei Qi to the Yan realm for a walk. Yan Ting looked at the two women and gave another order. The marriage is a foregone conclusion. Not to mention Huo Yue, even Huo Yue and Lei Qi should get to know each other better. Elder Yan Ting, I want to have a spar with my friends from the Thunder clan. At this time, a young man from the Yan clan came out and said. Huo Qing, do you still know etiquette? Before Yan Ting could say anything, the elder next to him glared at each other angrily. the young man seemed to have his own stubbornness. He gritted his teeth and said, "Elders, I just want to ask about the strength of my friends from the Thunder tribe." Looking at Huo Qi who came out, Lei Qi thought, "Hey, that's right. How can such two beauties not have a flower protector?" Lei Qi observed the expressions of Huo Yue and Huo Yue. Huo Yue's eyes were full of indifference, but Huo Yue had slight fluctuations. Obviously, this is Huo Yue's pursuer, or should be a licking dog, because there was no emotion in Huo Yue's beautiful eyes. He didn't say anything. This was the Yan clan, and he could do as he pleased. Pull him down and confine him for a month. Yan Ting gave the order, and when 2 Yan clan guards came, they dragged him away. At the end of the interlude, Lei Qi and the others went to the city of Yanjia. This is where some people from the Yan realm live. This is what every Dudi family has had. Along the way, Huo Yue was cold and silent, and Lei Qi didn't know how to put a hot face on a cold butt. Huo Yue, on the other hand, greeted Lei Qi in various ways. She knew that Huo Yue had the capital to be confident, but she never had it. Although one is the fiancé and the other is the concubine, Lei Qi is still quite popular among the Yan clan. There will be plenty of time to clean up this little hoof in the future, so there is no rush. Brother Lei Qi, do you want to go to our Xingyue Tower in Yanqing to try the food here? After walking around for a while, with Huo Yue's active flirtation, the two of them obviously got closer. At this time, he has become an elder brother. However, there is no sincerity at all on this flattering little face. Okay, let's go. Lei Qi did not refuse. I won't follow you anymore. I want to go back to practice. Huo Yue said indifferently. Do it yourself. Lei Qi nodded without even trying to hold back. Huo Yue looked at Lei Qi leaving with Huo Yue, feeling a little dissatisfied. She is also Lei Qi's fiancée now. However, his indifferent attitude made her angry, but she never thought that if it weren't for her cold attitude along the way, why wouldn't Lei Qi take care of her? Night, 3 rounds of wine, 5 flavors of food. When Lei Qi and Huo Yue returned to their residence, it was already night. After returning to his residence, Lei Qi planned to practice. However, at this moment, there was a noise outside the door. Lei Qi opened the door and hesitated for a moment. A woman in a purple dress appeared in front of him. The tight dress wrapped her plump breasts and her tummy, outlining the charming curves, revealing her fair and delicate long legs. Although Huo Yue already looked like a little fox during the day, Huo Yue at night was undoubtedly even more seductive. However, even a common wife still needs a formality. What's the purpose of her coming here? Husband. Huo Yue looked at Lei Qi who just opened the door but had no intention of asking her to go in. She was a little shy, but in order to be more comfortable in the future, she called out sweetly, hiss. This charming fox actually wants to test himself with this. How could he, Lei Qi, be that kind of person? Looking at Huo Yue who couldn't express the grievance on her charming face, and seeing her beautiful eyes covered with a layer of mist, maybe she would shed crystal tears in the next second. For a woman who is so good at acting, she has a pretty good eye for people. Lei Qi was not polite, picked her up casually and walked towards the house. Speaking of which, this is also a reward. Although he, Lei Qi, is a gentleman. But in order to become stronger, you can make exceptions and sacrifice. Huo Yue seemed to be completely willing to give up, and took the initiative to stick to Lei Qi's shoulder. At the same time, he stretched out his onion-like index finger, exhaled like blue, and whispered softly, "Please have mercy, husband." That if she were a real wife, Huo Yue would be more restrained, but to put it nicely, she is a side wife and a common wife. To put it lightly, she is actually no different from a concubine, which is why she is here at this time. Chapter 54. Promoted to Douzong. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 54. Promoted to Douzong. Early morning, except for the occasional buzzing of insects outside, the entire flame world has become quiet. Even from Lei Qi's residence just now, beautiful tunes could be heard from time to time, but now they are all gone. Lei Qi leaned against the bed, feeling indescribably comfortable, because Huo Yue is very sensible, but he is not much more sensible than the Queen and Yun Yun. With all kinds of cooperation, no matter what the requirements are, Huo Yue tries his best to please himself, even if it is unfamiliar, but that man doesn't like such an achievement. Ding, Congratulations to the host for obtaining the Eye skill, Phantom Eyes, Advanced Earth level. After the fun, naturally comes the lottery. When seeing this skill reward, Lei Qi was a little moved. Although it is only a high-level Earth level, you must know that the exercises that Tianxi Mansion gave Qin Lin to practice are only high-level Xian level. Moreover, this skill is also marked on the magic pupil. If you practice the magic pupil, the effect of the skill is comparable to that of the heavenly level. The green snake and three-flowered pupils were obviously among them. This reward is also very pleasant. Husband. That when Lei Qi looked at the reward, a bone-numbing sound came out, and at the same time, a cool and tender touch touched his body. Lei Qi looked at Huo Yue. This girl is really completely open-minded. However, this is exactly what he needs. That I end the days that followed, the relationship between Lei Qi and Huo Yue heated up. As for their real fiancé, Huo Ji, they treated her as normal. Perhaps it's because it's not certain whether the two of them will make it, and the elders of the Yan clan can't say anything about it. After staying in the Yan clan for nearly a month, Lei Qi and his party left. Originally, it would only take half a month to come and go. But the marriage between Lei Qi, Huo Ji, and Huo Yue was delayed for some time. When leaving, Huo Yue naturally followed him. The journey back to the clan was extremely smooth. This time it appeared, another half a year later. It was obvious that the thunder in the body did not fluctuate at all, and the alien fire was also extremely stable. Obviously, after the power of the two attributes was balanced, he would not be unable to control it. A situation of strength arises. The Haixin flame thunder Qi did not absorb it, mainly to avoid the flames being stronger than the black magic thunder. Now, he can also attack Douzong. As long as the strength becomes stronger and stronger, it is obvious that there will not be any difficulty in controlling the black magic thunder and strange fire. Before retreating, Lei Qi found the little girl Qin Lin. The speed of this girl was really speechless. After not seeing her for half a year, her cultivation level had increased by 4 stars, and she was already a peak fighting king. As long as there are high-level snake monsters, her speed will be very fast. Now coupled with the specialness of her house, it is not surprising that she can upgrade the 4-star Lei Qi. After praising her, Lei Qi even gave her the magic eye technique. After that, he started to retreat directly. After Huo Yue was arranged to live in a room in the inner house, he was also shocked by the energy here. Even if you don't practice, fighting energy nourishes your body, which is a multiple of practicing in the Yan clan. She suddenly felt that Lei Qi's strength had something to do with her family's upbringing. After Huo Yue moved in, he walked around the house and got to know it better. Except for the maids, these women are all Lei Qi's concubines. Huo Yue felt that she might have been played. How could such a man be unmoved by women's lust? But after half a month of hard work, Huo Yue was already in a surrendered state, and both his smile and his initiative were more natural than before. She may not even know. It seems that when he came back, Huo Yue specifically explained that he and the young man named Huo Qin were innocent. Lei Qi didn't have so many ideas. After all, he had countless women, so how could he not be able to tell the truth from the lies? When Lei Qi went into seclusion this time, she took the Pozong pill and broke through to the Douzong level in 2 months. Douzong, in this Zhongzhou continent, can be regarded as a strong man who can get into the janitor profession. The first thing Lei Qi did after breaking through to Douzong was to stand in the air. This feeling is indescribably wonderful. Standing in the air is the symbol of a strong Douzong. Moreover, feeling the surging fighting energy in his body, Lei Qi was in a good mood. As if sensing the fluctuations in his fighting spirit, the girls from Kai Lin and Lei Dong all appeared high in the sky. Lei Qi looked at everyone and said immediately, "I just broke through and haven't adapted to my own strength yet. If you don't practice well, why are you flying so high? Brother Lei Qi, you have already joined the Dou clan." Lei Shi wondered why there was such a big gap between the two people who were both members of the Lei clan. Even Lei Dong, who has practiced so hard, is only a 6-star Dou Huang now. "Lei Qi, do you want to practice your skills?" Ziyan flew over and asked. When Lei Qi fought against the emperor, he was already able to overpower these girls. Now, Ziyan wanted to understand the gap between them. "I won't participate." Kai Lin shook his head. Although the Medusa family has some mysteries, she is pregnant after all, so there is no way she can use force against others casually. She didn't want to hurt her child. Then Lei Dong, come and join us. Ziyan glanced at Lei Dong and said. I. Lei Dong was taken aback. He doesn't like group fights, he still likes to fight alone, but thinking that he couldn't beat Ziyan, he finally nodded and said, okay, that he also wanted to know what the gap between himself and Lei Qi was now. Let's go then. Lei Qi did not refuse and left the house with a group of people. For fighting, naturally we should choose some open places, but this time, those who are going to fight Lei Qi are Ziyan, Qinglin, Little Medical Fairy, and Lei Dong. As for Lei Shi and others, they all chose to watch the show as an audience. The difference in strength between them is too big, and they will definitely be beaten when they come in. During this time, these people have naturally improved a lot, but whether he was competing with the Little Medical Fairy or Qinglin, he was completely tortured. The difference is not just a tiny bit. Each of these sisters-in-law is more powerful than the other. After the 5 people arrived at the open space, several people started to take action. Lei Dong and Ziyan are naturally the impulsive pioneers, and there are also 2 6th-level peak snake monsters with blue scales. These are the ones they dropped from Douzong, because Qinglin now practices different techniques, so she can absorb even 7th-level monsters at the Douzong level. There is no shortage of snake monsters on Douchi continent, especially in the beast domain, but there is still a huge ethnic group. To cultivate Qinglin, Lei Qi doesn't mind what ethnic group the other party is. Lei Qi watched 4 figures rushing towards them, and they disappeared instantly. Lei Dong and Ziyan were both shocked. Oh. Oh. Chapter 55-55. The first outbreak of the evil poison. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 55. The first outbreak of the evil poison. After hearing the sound of punches hitting the flesh, Lei Dong and Ziyan were directly knocked to the ground. Immediately afterwards, before the 2 snake monsters had time to react, Lei Qi's colorful poisonous mist, which directly shattered the little fairy doctor, appeared in front of them. Are you still planning to continue? Lei Qi looked at Qinglin and the little medical fairy and said. Both women were shocked. They have always felt that they are strong. Moreover, even if compared with Lei Qi, he cannot win, but he can still delay. However, I didn't expect that Lei Qi, who came after Douzong, would be so terrifying. In just an instant, all of them were defeated. Humph, why don't you hit them too but hit me? Ziyan puffed her mouth, feeling very dissatisfied. This punch really hurt. I feel so wrong to death. Lei Dong on the side was even worse. Ziyan could still stand up, but he found that his physical defense was far behind. He couldn't stand up for a while. It's not that Lei Qi treats them separately, it can only be said that Taishu Ancient Dragon's body is powerful. Your body is too weak, Ancient Dragon. Just give it a shot and take a pill. The 2 of them don't practice body training. Lei Qi said. It's just partiality. Ziyan muttered dissatisfiedly. Are you coming again? Lei Qi asked with a smile. Not coming. Ziyan was the first to say. Just kidding, if this happened again, would have to scrap it directly. Husband, I also want stronger skills. The little medical fairy said at this time, holding Lei Qi's hand. Lei Qi paused and glanced at Huo Yue subconsciously. This woman's stomach is not up to expectations. Otherwise, you can still fight for it. I will help you pay attention this time when you go out. Lei Qi said. Okay, the little medical fairy found it difficult to accept it now. The green scales that we practiced together improved. It was whooshing. Looking at myself, although I am not slow, compared with Qinglin, I am far behind. How could Lei Qi not see what the little medical fairy was thinking? He pinched her little face and said, the reason why your calamitous poisonous body is not as fast as Qinglin's cultivation is because the fighting energy in your body is now messy. After condensing it into a poison pill, your strength will be greatly improved, and your cultivation speed will be faster. The talents of Qinglin and the little medical fairy are undoubtedly similar. Naturally, the little medical fairy had heard Lei Qi talk about this poison pill. However, the materials required to condense a poison pill are also extremely difficult to obtain. In fact, Lei Qi is not the talker now. Otherwise, what difficulties would there be in this kind of thing? The Douchi continent is so big. And the Thunder Clan is such a huge ethnic group. Even though Bodhi's incarnation is rare and precious, it can appear in places like the Black Angle territory, and Zhongzhou may not have it. Of course, this could also be wishful thinking. The reason why Black Corner territory can be owned is because that kind of place itself sells stolen goods. Moreover, people from the Black Corner region don't know how precious that kind of thing is. Although they had heard of the ancient Bodhi tree, their understanding was far from enough, otherwise they would not have put it up for bidding. When Xiao Yan went to the ancient Bodhi tree, if he had not possessed the Bodhi seed, he would have been trapped in the illusion. At that time, no one else had such a rare thing as the Bodhi tree in the hands of those who competed for the opportunity to acquire the ancient Bodhi tree, but it was still early. Calculating the time, Xiao Yan from the original world had just arrived at Canaan College. It's just unclear whether Xiao Yan will go to Canaan College now. Although he had a soul-controlling lock, the distance was too far and he couldn't determine what Xiao Yan was doing at this time. There is only one thing, they can never rebel. Okay, don't practice all the time. When you have nothing to do, come and discuss with Zi Yan. Lei Qi looked at the other people. Hearing this, the expressions of several people all looked ugly. Fighting Zi Yan? It's better to fight Lei Dong. When Zi Yan hits someone, it really hurts. Just once, the sour feeling made them remember it especially fresh. At this moment, the little medical fairy suddenly noticed something was wrong, and immediately said hurriedly, "Get out of here quickly." Hearing this, Lei Qi understood that the first poisonous body seemed to be about to explode. "You guys get out of here." Lei Qi ordered. Everyone did not dare to hesitate and left the place one after another. The poisonous mist on the little medical fairy's body has begun to spread. Space seal. Seeing this, Lei Qi hurriedly sealed the space here. Qi 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 qi. Soon the poisonous mist spread to the space wall. Boom! Lei Qi was in it, and the green flames and transparent fires burned. With the help of the two flames, the poisonous mist was quickly driven away. Lord Tianhua once said that the first outbreak would only help the little medical fairy's growth and would not cause any problems. Therefore, Lei Qi just observed quietly. With the protection of the strange fire, he didn't worry about being corroded. The others had already retreated to a distant place. Although they were very confused about what happened, looking at Lei Qi's figure standing there, they knew that nothing would happen. Huh? Is it the little girl with the poisonous body who did it? Just when everyone was stunned, a man appeared in the sky. See Elder Lei Ming. After everyone saw the man who appeared, they worshipped in unison. Lei Ming nodded and immediately said, "Why is Lei Qi still there?" Back to the elders. Brother Lei Qi has strange fire protection, and the poisonous mist can't get close to him. Lei Ming responded. Don't think too simply about the outbreak of the poison body. If it could be controlled so easily, this kind of body would still be regarded as a disaster. Lei Ming shook his head and said. Lei Ming was silent for a while. Think about it too. If it was truly controllable, how could cultivators be so repulsive to the poisonous body of disaster? Rumble. And at this moment, in the closed space, the energy of the poisonous mist seemed to start to riot. Feeling the riot of the poisonous mist, Lei Mingdang quickly reached the vicinity of the seal even if he moved. Then Lei Qi directly grabbed him and at the same time directly reinforced the seal here. The moment Lei Qi was pulled out, he was stunned for a while. That he glanced at Lei Ming in surprise, cupped his fists and said, "Elder, why are you here? You came after you felt the fluctuation of poisonous gas in the little girl's body. You kid, do you know how terrible the poison of the Ernan poison body is? How dare you stand in it and risk your life?" Lei Ming scolded. "Well, I was measured, but I didn't expect it to be so violent the first time." Lei Qi said. "It's not good to keep such a woman around," Lei Ming said suddenly. Lei Qi heard other meanings in Elder Lei Ming's mouth, and immediately said seriously, "She will be fine, and I won't let her explode a second time. She will be the woman who can successfully control this kind of physique. She will even give me children in the future." Chapter 56-56. The Method of Sealing. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Lei Ming looked at Lei Qi, and he clearly understood what Lei Qi meant. Until you can control the poisonous body of disaster, the clan will not agree. Lei Ming didn't want to get too stiff with Lei Qi, but he still reminded him. Since I dare to bring her back to the Thunder Clan, I have a certain degree of confidence. Lei Qi said. Lei Ming pointed to the little medical fairy. The look in his eyes was self-evident, and it was clearly saying that the first outbreak of the calamitous poisonous body was such a movement. Could you really control it? Lei Qi was also a little confused as to what was going on. Immediately he released the soul of Lord Tianhua. After Lord Tianhua appeared, the moment he saw the thunder, his soul trembled. Because the person in front of him is the real, strong man. At the very least, he must be a strong fighting saint. Let alone now, even when he was facing this kind of existence, he was far from enough to see it. Lord Tianhua first bowed respectfully to Lei Ming, and then looked at Lei Qi and asked, Master Lei Qi, what do you want to do with calling me? What's going on with the little medical fairy? Why is it so fierce the first time it breaks out? Lei Qi asked. Lord Tianhua looked at where the little medical fairy was and was also shocked. This terrifying poisonous mist was completely different from the first time his friend's disaster poisonous body broke out. It's truly terrifying. This may be because the resources she used are too poisonous. Lord Tianhua expressed his guess. Then will something happen to her? Lei Qi was slightly worried when he heard this, too toxic. What does this mean? He just wants to cultivate this girl, not to kill her. I don't know either, but there is a way to save it. Lord Tianhua said. What's the rescue method? Lei Qi asked immediately after hearing this. The method of sealing. Lord Tianhua said. Once sealed, it can be guaranteed that the little medical fairy will not suffer any backlash within 3 years. However, after 3 years, the poison elixir for the evil poison body must be completed, otherwise, there is only death waiting for her. Then I'll seal it. Lei Qi said immediately. Master Lei Qi, I suggest you wait. The little medical fairy can still hold on. These poisonous mist will be good nourishment for her. Let her practice in it for a while, and she will be fine. Lord Tianhua hurriedly stopped him. Lei Qi paused and looked at him. Lord Tianhua said, after my friend broke out for the first time, he said that he was too anxious to suppress it. However, the poisonous fighting spirit here is an extremely important nourishment for her. Although it is very dangerous, but before the poisonous mist starts to riot, suppression will definitely be fine. Lei Qi paused and then said, Are you sure? Little old man, I can guarantee it with my soul. Lord Tianhua said. Okay, I understand. Lei Qi nodded. Lord Tianhua had returned to Neji, and was thrown into another Neji by Lei Qi that he is just a soul body, so he doesn't need to worry about his life's safety. Lei Ming asked curiously, what's going on with this soul body? The last time I went to swallow the fallen heart inflammation, I met him. He was a Douzong before he was alive, and he was saved easily. Lei Qi responded. Seeing this, Lei Ming didn't ask anything. With the strength of that soul body, there is no need to worry about being able to seize Lei Qi's body. Moreover, judging from its appearance, it doesn't look like it has that kind of power. It's better not to carry your soul body with you to avoid any accidents. Lei Ming reminded. Yes, I know. Lei Qi nodded in agreement. He knew that Elder Lei Ming was also doing it for his own good, so naturally he would not be ungrateful. You all go back to practice, I will stay with her here. Lei Qi said. Hearing this, the rest of the people agreed and left the place one after another. Obviously, the little medical fairy will be fine, and it seems that he can still get a lot of benefits. In other words, the little medical fairy is about to become stronger. This naturally made them anxious, and they also wanted to become stronger. Lei Qi had been guarding here for half a month, and the poisonous mist of the little medical fairy began to riot. After noticing the riot caused by the little medical fairy, he hurriedly entered it, and then began to use the sealing method. When entering it, Lei Qi strengthened another layer of space barriers. Without him, with the sealing method, there will be some scenes where Lei Qi doesn't want others to pay attention. Where there were layers of gray and purple poisonous mist, Lei Qi, protected by 2 kinds of strange fires, was not harmed in any way. Looking at the curled-up little medical fairy and the thick poisonous mist, it is still pouring out of his body in a steady stream. The little medical fairy's grey-purple eyes full of pain shine through, looking at Lei Qi and saying, "Lei Qi, am I going to be unable to hold on anymore?" Looking at the pain and paleness on that moving face, Lei Qi said, "Don't worry," I said, "your problem is not a problem. So how can it cause anything to happen to you?" With that said, Lei Qi untied her restraints. "The little doctor has a meal." The little medical fairy with a pretty and crimson face looked at Lei Qi in disbelief, with a pair of wonderful eyes staring at Lei Qi as if they were about to turn red. "Don't think blindly, I want to seal the evil poisonous body for you." Lei Qi was speechless for a while when she was stared at like this. After removing the restraints from the little medical fairy, Lei Qi started the sealing technique. Stretch out your fingers and let the flames burn. You need to control the flame at your fingertips at an extremely precise temperature. In this way, you can complete the seal without causing the flames to harm the little medical fairy. The fingers were like a paintbrush, moving gently on the little medical fairy's body, and what they brought were strange vertical and horizontal lines outlined. There was a hint of mystery in the intersection of these lines, and as light green fire marks appeared on the body, the little fairy doctor gradually got used to the burning pain, and under this kind of stalemate, the white jade-like skin also quietly appeared a little crimson. The color, "It looks like a dream," is captivating. "Hold on, you'll be fine soon." Lei Qi reminded, "This sealing method is also extremely complicated. If you are not careful, it will really end." That was definitely not a scene Lei Qi wanted to see. How could he allow something to happen to the little medical fairy? As the sealing formation gradually took shape, the grey-purple poisonous mist pouring out of the body of the little medical fairy became more and more intense. In the end, almost every poisonous mist that came out would hit hard. Fortunately, in Lei Qi's body, in addition to the strange fire, he also has mutated black magic thunder. Zitzi. Shichichi. Under the baptism of thunder and fire, the poisonous mist that was like a backlash was suppressed. The fingers danced, until afterimages almost appeared, and then, the fingers stopped suddenly, and then they became heavier, and the fire marks quietly hooked, a perfect sealing formation without any loopholes, and finally it was completely completed. Heaven capital Fire Seal, Sky is Form, Fire is Spirit, Seal. Chapter 57:57. The Little Medical Fairies, God Level Jump. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 57:57. The Little Medical Fairies, Divine Level Jump. The moment Lei Qi's sealing method was completed, the non-poisonous body also became quite crazy. An extremely strong poisonous gas suddenly burst out from the pores of the little medical fairy's body, and then quickly rushing towards the body of the little medical fairy. The moment Ernan's poisonous body was sealed, the little medical fairy's eyes suddenly opened, his mouth opened slightly, and a suction force came out. Immediately, the poisonous mist that filled the entire space suddenly fluctuated violently, and then turned into a huge Qi dragon was swallowed into the body by the little medical fairy in one gulp. And at the moment when the little medical fairy absorbed the rich poisonous mist, a strange look suddenly appeared on his cheeks, and there was also a flash of light in the depths of his eyes. Unknowingly, the little medical fairy's breath is also like taking a big tonic, which is rapidly increasing. In just a few minutes, it has been improved all the way from the 6-star Do King, 7 stars Fighting King, 9 stars Fighting King, 3 stars Fighting King, 8 stars Fighting King. In fact, this rich poisonous mist power actually drove her directly across the threshold of Douzong, and she only stopped when she reached the late stage of 3-star Douzong in one fell swoop. Damn it, what an outrageous physique. Lei Qi was slightly shocked after feeling the short-term changes in the little medical fairy. He didn't expect that in just a moment, the little medical fairy would be directly promoted from a fighting king to a 3-star fighting sect. This is entirely due to physical reasons. Lei Qi put the restraints on the little medical fairy again, and the little medical fairy slowly opened her eyes. At this time, the space barrier was also removed by Lei Qi. I actually reached the Douzong realm, the little medical fairy said with some surprise. Yes, you are really outrageous. Even if our Do Emperor family practices like this with their strong bloodline, they may not be able to achieve your current achievements in such a short period of time. Lei Qi said. Hee, if it weren't for your final seal, I might have died. The little medical fairy didn't have the upper hand, but she still knew how she got her strength. She also knew very well that without Lei Qi, she might have died. Isn't this what I should do? I'm waiting for you to give me 4 or 5 children. Lei Qi said. The pretty face of the little medical fairy turned rosy again. 4 or 5 more. What do you think she is? Would you like to try your current strength? Lei Qi asked. He doubted whether the little medical fairy could adapt to such an improvement. Yeah. The little doctor nodded. Immediately, the two of them took off into the air. Attack me with all your strength. Lei Qi said while looking at the little medical fairy standing in the air. The little medical fairy knew Lei Qi's strength, so he didn't hesitate at all and appeared in front of Lei Qi in an instant. That I and the later stage of Samsung Douzong. Her speed obviously changed greatly. Moreover, she was not carrying a baby in her belly, so there was no need for any reservation in taking action. Lei Qi was also a little surprised by the speed of the little medical fairy. He waved his palm out and the flames gathered in his palm. Bang! Laugh. After a head-on collision with the little medical fairy, the surrounding space was distorted, and Lei Qi could even feel the poisonous gas pouring into his body. Shichichi. Fortunately, Lei Qi not only has the protection of strange fire, but also the protection of black magic thunder. This is how you get rid of the poisonous gas in your body. After the little medical fairy struck this blow, she also had a rough understanding of her own strength, because at that moment, not even Lei Qi's strange fire could hurt her. The poison gas has become much stronger. In fact, it was Lei Qi who put in the effort. It seems that there is still no problem with your foundation. Come again, attack me with all your strength. Lei Qi said. It is good. After the little medical fairy agreed, he turned into a stream of light and rushed towards Lei Qi. Boom! Oh! Laugh! Soon, waves of distortions appeared in the high sky, and circles of ripples continued to spread above the sky. Fortunately, this space was created by the Thunder Emperor back then and is extremely stable. Not to mention the battle between Douzong, even the battle between Dou Sage will not cause much damage to this place. The collision between the two Douzongs was naturally very loud. Soon, many people were attracted. There are even elders from the inner world among them. When they saw the little medical fairy actually fighting with Lei Qi, they were all slightly shocked. Maybe Lei Qi didn't attack with all her strength, but judging from the little medical fairy's continuous improvement, she understood how terrifying this girl's fighting power was. The most shocking thing is that this girl has been promoted to the late stage of the 3-star Douzong in such a short period of time. This is the evil poisonous body. Lei Qi became more and more shocked the more he fought, because even with the full force of his strange fire, he was unable to suppress the little medical fairy. In fact, he had already started to use the black magic thunder. It can be said that he exerted the power of both thunder and fire attributes. It was precisely because of the explosion of the two attributes that he was able to suppress the little medical fairy again. If it were an enemy, it wouldn't be easy for the current little medical fairy to deal with it. Palm thunder. Boom! The ferocious power of thunder rushed directly towards the little medical fairy. Shichichi. The moment Lei Qi used his earth-level fighting skills, the little fairy doctor also filled the sky with the poison of disaster. This ferocious poisonous mist was actually able to consume most of the energy of Lei Qi's palm thunder covered with black magic thunder. Although after that, the poisonous mist was still dispersed and hit her, but the little medical fairy was obviously not seriously injured. Lei Qi, be careful, this is a blow I gathered through the battle just now. The little medical fairy stepped on the void and looked at Lei Qi and said. Okay. Lei Qi was shocked. He didn't expect that the little medical fairy hadn't fully demonstrated his unique skills yet. Shichichi. After warning Lei Qi, the little medical fairy put her hands on her chest. In an instant, the colorful poisonous mist began to appear, and then they quickly gathered together. Seeing this scene, Lei Qi had to stand ready. At this moment, the green flames and transparent flames in his hands began to merge. with the two people's final blow, more and more eyes in the entire Thunder Realm were focused on this place, because, whether it was Lei Qi or the little medical fairy, the power contained in this attack was beyond their current strength. Withering poison is difficult to control, but after the little medical fairy finished accumulating power, he jumped up and shot out the poisonous mist from his hand. A mountain of poisonous palms condensed together. Looking at that palm that was comparable to a high-level person, the whole world was shaken. Buddha's furious fire lotus, Lei Qi also successfully fused the two different fires. Although it was the first time, it was not difficult with his fire control ability. Immediately, a two-color fire lotus was thrown out. Chapter 58-58. The Power of the Two-Color Fire Lotus. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The green and white fire lotus is as if it were made of jade, crystal clear and extremely gorgeous. However, even under such a beautiful appearance, the explosive power contained is not weaker than the colorful poisonous mist that occupies the world. Above the sky, two rays of light suddenly passed by. The momentum of the green and white fire lotus was not too surprising or eye-catching, but it was the palm of the little medical fairy. But at the moment when the two energies collided, Elder Lei Ming appeared in front of Lei Dong and others. He even put up a defense almost immediately. The fire lotus and poison palm also collided together like meteorites. At the moment of the collision, the free energy in the entire world fell into a momentary stagnation at this moment, and the clear sky was also slightly dark. Boom! The stagnation lasted for an instant, and two terrifying energies erupted fiercely in the sky. The entire space became extremely distorted at this moment, like a towel that was twisted vigorously, with deep wrinkles. Energy collision, a circle of energy storm mixed with strange fire and disaster poison, also swept out from the center at an extremely fast speed. This fire-poison storm was extremely fast, and it came to everywhere in just the blink of an eye. In front of the elders of the Thunder World. Fortunately, the weakest ones in the inner realm are all semi-holy beings. Even though the collision of this blow was terrifying, with their presence, it was still easily suppressed. The little medical fairy looked at this scene blankly. She struck with all her strength and was completely shattered. It was at this time that an elder appeared in front of her. Shao Qi, let this attack completely explode. Elder Lei Yi said. After seeing Lei Yi, the seal in Lei Qi's hand quietly changed, and the word explosion came out from his mouth. As the syllable fell, the Buddha's angry fire lotus, which had shrunk several times due to the collision with the little doctor's immortal poison palm, finally exploded like an ignited bomb after swelling and shrinking. Boom! A huge flame storm appeared in the sky like a mushroom cloud. The earth-shattering explosion made countless people's ears ring, and the violent temperature spreading from the sky made everyone's faces swell. Appalled, after the green and white mushroom cloud rose, it was suppressed by a powerful energy. The person who took action was naturally Elder Lei Yi. What kind of fighting skill is this? It's so powerful. This blow of yours will probably kill or cripple the 8-star Douzong. The 9-star Douzong will definitely be severely damaged. After Lei Yi suppressed the destructive power of the fire lotus, he said in shock, after all, just now, the palm of the little medical fairy's full strength was resisting each other, and it can still be so powerful, which shows how terrifying this strike of destruction fire lotus is. Lei Qi, you kid is going too far. At this time, the great elder Lei Jin also appeared and scolded him. Even though there are few alchemists in the Thunder Clan, they also know that if the two flames are fused, their power will increase exponentially. However, the flames are not only violent in nature and difficult to control, but also have their own interests and are extremely fusion-friendly. If the fusion is forced, I am afraid that the first person to be killed by the backlash will be the person who fused with the flame. The most outrageous thing is that Lei Qi is fused with strange fire. Hey, great elder, apart from the fact that I have consumed a lot of fighting energy, I have nothing to do. Lei Qi said. What a fool. What a fool. The great elder was a little dissatisfied. This is a fire. Can this kind of thing be used casually and be compatible? What a terrifying fire control technique! Huo Yue's beautiful eyes below were full of shock. This kind of fire control technique must be difficult for the elders in the clan to master, right? And if it was like just compatibility with two different fires, even the leader of the Yan clan wouldn't have this ability, right? If I can't control it, how can I do whatever I want? Moreover, the elder didn't see it just now. I held back the last strength. Lei Qi said. Great elder Lei Jin found himself speechless for a moment. Because, if Lei Qi had not ignited the fire lotus at the last moment, he would have indeed stopped it. Lei Qi, you did a good job. Although your behavior just now was a bit dangerous, if you want to be stronger, you still need to take some risks. At this time, Lei Ying also appeared. After seeing Lei Ying, everyone in the Lei clan clasped their fists and paid homage. Clan leader. Yes, to be able to cultivate both attributes to such an extreme level, and to be able to innovate such terrifying fighting skills, the Lei clan is lucky to have this generation. Elder Lei Qi also appeared. You have good taste. These girls are indeed extraordinary. After Lei Qi appeared, Lei Mo also appeared. These two are undoubtedly the oldest ancestors in the clan. Who would have thought that today the two of them would appear here one after the other? Especially what Lei Qi said made many elders look at the little medical fairy and the Kai Lin girls below, whether it is the little medical fairy with a poisonous body, the colorful scales of the seven-colored sky-swallowing python, or the little girl with green snakes and three-flowered pupils, or the ancient Zi Yen of Taishu. There is absolutely no mention of talent in cultivation. As for Chao Ying, she may not be that top-notch in terms of cultivation, but you must know that Chao Ying has now reached the level of a 6th-grade alchemist. A 15-year-old 6th-grade alchemist is hard to find even among the medicine clan. It can be said that Lei Qi's words made many elders suddenly react. The few people around Lei Qi who share the Lei clan's resources are really not a loss at all. No matter which one is cultivated, it will be a great help to Thunder Clan in the future. In addition, Lei Qi did not know where he obtained the 7-colored holy lotus. With its help, it is expected that these Lei clan disciples will be able to improve quickly. It can be said that none of the new generation of Thunder Clan children can be underestimated. Almost all of these changes originated from Lei Qi. Lei Ying glanced at Lei Jin, who seemed to have made a decision and nodded. All the elders are here today, and I am here to announce a news. Lei Ying said. After hearing what Lei Ying said, the elders hiding in the void appeared one by one. Because the words of these people have already made speculations. What Lei Ying wants to announce is undoubtedly the appointment of the young patriarch. No matter what kind of family it is, there will always be internal strife. However, when a person's light is so dazzling that he ignores his peers, then these struggles seem particularly powerless. Many elders always have one goal, which is to make the family better and better. Lei Qi has been proven in cultivating talents. If this is the case, then there is nothing left to compete with. Lei Qi looked at the Lei clan elders who appeared one after another, and also had guesses in his heart. Chapter 59:59. Thunder Clan, Young Leader. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 59:59. The young chief of the Thunder Clan. Soon, not only the big bosses of the Thunder Clan from the inner world appeared one by one, but even Lei Wuxia, who was responsible for the affairs of the outside world, and some semi-saint elders from the outside world also came here. From today on, Lei Qi will be the young patriarch of our clan. Except for the Supreme Elder, all personnel are available to you. After Lei Ying saw many elders appearing, he directly announced the appointment, and also gave Lei Ying great rights. Lei Ying's voice spread almost throughout the entire inner world. The rolling sound waves were mixed with strong fighting spirit, ensuring that everyone could hear clearly. As for the Supreme Elder, Lei Qi currently does not have the right to give orders. In fact, the young patriarch is not the patriarch, and he has no right to transfer some elders who are half-saint or above, but Lei Ying still chose to delegate power. Lei Qi has the ability to recognize people, and he has already shown them to him today. Moreover, Lei Qi's own talent is also impeccable. Surrounded by such a dazzling halo, it is not a bad thing to have established Lei Qi's identity a few days ago. Not even one of the many elders present had any opinions. See the young patriarch. Except for the Supreme Elder and the clan leader Lei Ying, everyone else clasped their fists and paid homage. Although he was certain that the position of the young patriarch was his own, but even Lei Qi himself did not expect that it would be so fast and so sudden. Speaking of which, the little medical fairy is also a big help. After the appointments in the inner world were completed, many elders left in hiding. As for the outside manager, Lei Wuxia, he naturally went to the outside world to announce the matter. The appointment ceremony was of course unambiguous, and Elder Lei Wuxia also specially issued invitations to several members of the Didi family to watch the ceremony. Of course, these things all take time to arrange. As for the time, it is fixed in 3 years. At that time, it was also the day of the Thunder Clan's coming-of-age ceremony. At that time, it was naturally more grand than today. The rites have become much greater for a time, and the freedoms have also increased a lot. As a young clan leader, I also have a better understanding of the people in the clan. For example, Elder Lei Niu who guards Gu Yu is undoubtedly a time bomb. Lei Qi only learned about the list, but did not go to see the other party. And no matter what his situation is now, he can't control it at the moment. Although his status is extraordinary, in the final analysis, this world still values strength. If you don't have enough strength, it's useless to say anything. However, Lei Qi gained a lot from the battle with the little medical fairy, and then began to retreat into seclusion again, but this time, Lei Qi did not choose to practice at home, but to practice in the imperial altar. Although there is a 7-color holy lotus at home, judging from his current state, that speed is naturally far from being comparable to that of the current emperor. Lei Dong and others are still practicing in his house. Before Douzong, the imperial altar was not as good as his house. After Douzong, this place was more suitable. As for the little medical fairy, Kai Lin and the other girls, there is no doubt that they are not destined to be emperors. The time of cultivation is always very fast, and before you know it, another year has passed by quietly. 1 year has passed, and Lei Qi's cultivation has reached the late stage of 7-star Douzong. What is needed now is to temper one's own fighting spirit. However, he finally reached the first level. With more help, the members of the Dou Emperor family were practicing at a very fast speed before Douzun. It can be said that before Douzun, the gap was hard to see. The effect of the Emperor altar is indeed quite unexpected. The most important thing is that the longer you stay in it, the faster it will be. Talking about bloodline is indeed not nonsense. However, although the cultivation of the imperial altar can be accelerated, it can easily lead to one's own lack of solidity. After this breakthrough, Lei Qi planned to go out for a walk and look for the poisonous scorpion dragon beast that day, although it is possible to arrange for people to search for it. You must know that the intelligence, perception and concealment capabilities of Warcraft are not bad. Therefore, if he wanted to search for the other party, he would need to take the little medical fairy there in person. This time when he went out, Lei Qi also took Zi Yan with him. As for Zi Yan, it is also necessary to get to know her own tribe. Therefore, Lei Qi, Xiao Xian, Zi Yan and Yang Ji left the Lei realm early the next morning. In fact, there are still strong men from the Thunder clan following them in the dark, with a different identity. He still has to go out for a wander, and his safety undoubtedly needs to be guaranteed. Half a month later, Lei Qi and his party arrived at Danyu. After that, they rushed straight to Luotian Stream. Luotian Stream is located in the north of the Dan territory. The terrain there is extremely complex. The entire land seems to have been split by a sky-splitting axe with countless cracks. Each crack is nearly 1,000 feet long. And these mountain streams are even more unfathomable. They are filled with poisonous mist, countless poisonous things appear, and the environment is extremely harsh. Speaking of it, it can be regarded as a dangerous place in the Dan territory. Chi. After the space gate formed by a space crack appeared, Lei Qi and his party walked out one by one. Immediately afterwards, they came to a towering mountain and slowly descended. Immediately, they looked into the distance. In front of them was a vast plain of rocks with no end in sight. The plain was covered with countless dark cracks. These cracks were as ferocious as demons. Like a mouth, it emerged from the ground and then extended into the distance. The faint black color made people feel a little chilled. The plain is covered with some extremely large rocks. Some of these boulders look like stone mountains, exuding a dark color, and in the sky, there is also some black mist lingering over the years. These are all from the poisonous fog rising from the mountain stream has accumulated over the years, almost covering the sky of this vast plain. This place can also be called a dangerous place. Lei Qi said. Yang Ji, you can follow me secretly from now on. After hearing Lei Qi's instructions, Yang Ji immediately responded, yes, young patriarch. Ziyan, you have to control your aura and don't let anyone notice you. Otherwise, it will scare the thing and hide it, which will be troublesome. Lei Qi said. I know. Ziyan pouted, looking a little impatient. She looks like a rebellious girl. After all the instructions were given, Yang Ji hid, and the three of them stepped inside. The entrance to Luotian stream is located between two towering black boulders. There is a spacious road several feet long, but there are no magical beasts here. Within this Luotian stream, poisons are rampant, and there are many poisonous monsters with terrifying strength. There are also monsters here, and the poisonous scorpion dragon beast that day happens to be the overlord of this Luotian stream. When looking for the sky poison scorpion dragon beast, Lei Qi and the others encountered many battles. Without him, Ziyan restrained her dragon power. If the three of them stepped into it, they would naturally arouse the dissatisfaction of the monsters here. However, these monsters just gave Lei Qi the ability to move his tibia and temper his fighting spirit. Chapter 60-60 Level 7 Sky Poison Scorpion Dragon Beast. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 60 Level 60 Sky Poison Scorpion Dragon Beast. Boom! After killing another 5th level monster, Lei Qi took out the magic core and threw it to the little medical fairy. These highly poisonous magic cores are very suitable for refining elixirs for the little medical fairy. The grade is lower, but the impact is not big. Unconsciously, they swaggered to the depths of Luotian stream. The poisonous mist here was lingering. Even the air here had a slightly fishy smell. If it was inhaled into the body, it would be quite troublesome. However, before entering, Lei Qi prepared suitable elixirs for each of the two women. Within Luotian stream, there are countless huge dark cracks. Occasionally, roars can be heard from the cracks. After years of evolution, almost all the creatures here are poisonous, because Thunder Qi and others were not in a hurry. They had killed a lot of powerful monsters in the past few days, although it was a bit slow. At the moment the 10th day arrived, they arrived at the territory of the sky poison scorpion dragon beast. Even the little medical fairy is aware of the other party. Ow! Just when the three of them set foot within a kilometer of the stone castle, the land suddenly shook violently. Immediately, a shocking dragon roar came out from the stone castle, and then swept in like a strong wind, shaking the ground. All the gravel above was blown away. What pure poisonous gas! After a dragon roar, a loud noise came from the depths. Hoo-hoo-hoo! I heard the sharp sound of breaking wind, and a blood-red figure swept out from the stone castle like lightning. A pair of dragon wings that were 10 feet long extended from behind. Behind it, there was a bloody scorpion that was more than 10 meters long. The tail, the tip of the tail, has a sharp cold light. The figure floated in the sky, and behind it was the perfectly round moon, with its wings spread out, its poisonous tail like a snake, and its screaming upwards. Its poisonous gas was overwhelming. The blood-red figure floated in the sky, and the huge dragon wings behind it flapped slowly, bringing gusts of wind, but except for the wings on the back and the sharp scorpion tail, this Scorpio poisonous dragon beast was almost indistinguishable from ordinary humans. Moreover, his appearance is also extremely handsome, and even faintly reveals a hint of evil charm and gloomy taste. And his eyes quickly rested on the little medical fairy. It's so perfect, little beauty, I want you to give birth to an heir for me. The sky poison scorpion dragon beast seemed to be going crazy. Silly beep. Lei Qi looked at the other party and muttered coldly, as a poisonous beast, this calamitous poisonous body is like poison to him. Just smelling the smell is enough to make his soul tremble and feel extremely comfortable. Coupled with the little medical fairy's figure and appearance, it's simply not a good fit. But after hearing what Lei Qi said, the sky poison scorpion dragon beast was a little unhappy. How dare a small 7-star Douzong be so arrogant? The sky poison scorpion dragon beast said coldly. As soon as the words fell, the dragon's wings on the back of the Scorpio poisonous dragon shook violently, and its figure suddenly disappeared in place. The next moment, a palm with sharp blood-red nails was torn open from in front of it like a sharp sword. Wherever the palm passed, a dark crack appeared in the space. Oh! Chi-Chi! The palms collided, and the surrounding mountain walls suddenly shattered. The sky-poison scorpion dragon beast was directly knocked back by a palm. Zitzi! Zitzi! The black electric current floated, and Lei Qi didn't give him much chance to struggle at all. He disappeared instantly, and the next moment, he appeared in front of him. Boom boom boom. With one palm shot, a thick thunderbolt fell from the sky. In an instant, the sky-poison scorpion dragon beast was covered in scars. Boom! Hit him against a stone wall. The sky-poison scorpion dragon beast was shocked. Powerful. Lei Qi was so strong that it was hard for him to accept it. He was an 8-star dose sect, but in Lei Qi's hands, he was like a child. Being pinched randomly. The sky-poison scorpiondraman knew that he was in trouble, so he wanted to call his subordinates and take advantage of the chaos to escape. It's a pity, how could Lei Qi give him this opportunity? Stab! A figure appeared again with lightning. You don't think you still have a chance to struggle, do you? After Lei Qi sneered and taunted, he clenched his fists and delivered a fatal blow. Boom! Boom! With bursts of roaring and ear-splitting thunder, the poisonous scorpion dragon beast had been completely explained here that day. As the huge body of the sky-poison scorpion dragon beast crashed down, the entire ground seemed to tremble violently at this moment, like an earthquake, and thick cracks in the arms continuously spread out from the place where it fell. Lei Qi made a decisive move, her fighting spirit condensed into a dagger, and she accurately took out the magic core from his body. After getting the magic core, Lei Qi took the little medical fairy and Ziyan and rushed outside. Boom! Boom! When entering, Lei Qi was not idle all the way, and the same was true when going out. Fighting is everywhere. At first it was to leave, but later, Lei Qi looked like he was killing someone. Not only did it not stop, but it stopped right here. The overlord here is naturally not just a sky-poison scorpion dragon beast, but there are also many 7th-order peak monsters among them. But in just about 10 days, 2 overlords died in Lei Qi's hands. It is precisely because of this that the 3 of them have been impacted by the beast tide. Inside a cave. If this continues, our fighting spirit will be a little unbearable. The little medical fairy said. I know, but I don't want to miss this opportunity. Lei Qi responded. Lei Qi, what are you going to do? Ziyan was also very curious. Complete a fighting skill. The little medical fairy thought of the previous discussion and asked, is it the same kind of strange fire fusion as before? That because she had seen Lei Qi complete the fusion of 2 different fires several times, and then dissipate again, the little medical fairy felt that it was the fire lotus that Lei Qi used last time, and the explosive power in it was also special to her. The memory is still fresh. It's even more powerful than that. Lei Qi said with a smile, although the previous fusion of different fires was already extreme, but how could Lei Qi be satisfied with this? He also needs more terrifying destructive power. With his current strength, he can threaten Douzong's destructive power. Whirring whirring. The 2 strange fires were spinning in his hands again. And as the 2 strange fires rotated, a black thunder merged into them. Originally, the 2 kinds of strange fire were extremely violent forces. However, what Lei Qi wanted to accomplish was not only the strange fire, but also the infusion of mutated black magic thunder. But so far, he has failed 5 times. Fortunately, he has enough control over the black magic thunder, otherwise, he would have exploded long ago, especially at a time like this. It would be tragic if you were injured. Of course, another thing that makes Lei Qi not afraid of the demons is that Yang Ji is in the dark.